Good morning, good morning, and good morning. Hope you're having a good morning. So far, Luna's having a good morning, aren't you? Even though we're in hunting season, even though it looks a little cloudy, she doesn't like hunters and she doesn't like thunderstorms. But so far, she's been lucky this morning. I hope you're having a good morning also. Let's have a little something to get our morning started. I'd like a little coffee. Oh, that's good. Okay, that'll get my day started. Uh, uh, well, here's the time of year and traveling happens. Well, I should say it's time of year. A lot of traveling stops. Kids are back in school. Um, we're planning a trip in a couple of weeks for Yellowstone, and looking forward to that. I've never been to Yellowstone. Don't know what it's like, so uh, looking forward to it. I'm gonna do a drive. Drive our car up there, check it out. The the thing I thought I'd talk about a little bit about is my daughter and her traveling. So my daughter, her first trip, she was only 14 years old. She went on something called the Ambassador Program, and it was a program set up with the schools, and they would take kids to foreign countries under the supervision of teachers and educators to take them to learn about the people and the culture. And probably the best part about the trip is like 2 or 3 days they would spend as actual with a family in one of the countries to understand how they lived. So I was uh, I was excited to have her go. I was scared a little bit too. Uh, her being on the other, uh, her first trip was to Australia and New Zealand, and so pretty much on the other side of the planet. Not exactly, but pretty close. And I gave her, I said, two things, just two things. Be very, very careful. Your passport and your credit card. The passport gets you to access the things that'll can protect you, and a credit card is something Daddy can get to you to help you out financially. Come find out, they actually the people doing the trip, they would have a process where one person would go through the security check-in, and the other person's on the other side with the passports, and they would give them to the kids as they were going through, and then on the other side, that person that went through first would collect them. Didn't didn't know that. Found that out later during the get together to say how things went. So she didn't lose her passport because she didn't have an opportunity, but she did lose the credit card. And I also asked her, I said, when you're there, can you um, give us a pictures. Hold on just a second. I got to get rid of this. My alarm went off to wake me up. Uh, so I said, could you get pictures taken? Uh, I said, not of Australia. Daddy can get lots of pictures of Australia. I want pictures of you in Australia. I got two. A blurry one of her and a couple of other people in a kind of parking lot, and then a picture of her face with water in the background. Could have been taken in a swimming pool anywhere. Anyway, so luckily at the end, people shared the photos, and I got pictures of my daughter in Australia from other kids. But the trip went well, and it excited her. And that's what trips are all about. It's what vacations are about, is understanding and having empathy with the people that you go to see, but it's also to see a little bit of how how much we are alike and how we are different. Um, she was so excited that she wanted to continue the path. They had other trips that you could take, so she took a trip. So Australia, New Zealand. She took a trip to China. Uh, I was really excited about that. So I'd never been, well, I've never been to Australia and New Zealand, but I've never been to China. I was like, wow, that's a country that's going to be outside of what um, American norms and values. It's going to be very interesting to her. And it was. She came back with a bunch of wonderful stories about China. And it did express to her how very different uh, we are from the people in China. So that was great. And she's also been to Europe. She's been to Europe more than anything else. Well, that's not fair because she does tend to go to different countries. You know, as a continent outside of North America, she's gone to Europe more. So can you take in Australia, uh, Asia, uh, Africa, South America? You take all those together, she's been to Europe a lot more. She's I've gotten a lot more pictures. She's gotten a little better at that. Now I get less. Those are dried up again. So when a couple of years ago she was going to go to England, Scotland, and Ireland. And when the trip was done, she was going to hang out in Ireland, and I was going to join her, and we were going to have a little uh, Irish trip. And she set it up, and she had marked out where we were going to go, how we were going to go, places we were going to stay. She did a great job. Uh, very proud of how much she has grown and how much she has learned and how much fun she's had. So one of the things that so systems and empathy. Systems. The U.S. we are very tight on our travel. When we travel, we tend to pack a lot into a very short amount of time, and we tend to do it big. Um, I assume there's other countries similar to that. Most of the other people I know that are from foreign countries, though, they tend to do it much more longer and a little more laid back. So I don't know which is better. I tend to think that the longer and laid back is better. Give you an example. Took my daughter on a cruise, and she said, "Well, Dad, it's it's okay, but when you get to your destinations, they want you to do a bunch of stuff, excursions and things of that nature, because they only give you like 6 to 8 hours at your destination, and then they get you back on the boat to the next destination." And she said, "You don't get a chance to mingle with the people, find out what it's like around there, and it's that's a part that," she says, "I really enjoy about traveling." And it didn't feel that way when I did the cruise. It felt like it was more about seeing, sightseeing than it was about cultural understanding. Uh, I love hearing that stuff from my daughter. She is so wise for her age. She's the smartest person in our family. She's just clever, smart. My son is driven. Well, I have two sons. I have Connor and they're both. One of them's really driven. He's a leader, man. He just goes. The other guy is my other son is really, really smart. I mean, you don't want to play him in chess. He will figure out patterns and get things done, and he's really good at that. My daughter, however, in the family is the most, she has like a broad smartness. She understands social situations, she understands intricacies of the systems, but not, but she also knows how to apply in the systems and empathy into the system. She knows how to work the systems. She is very clever. As you can tell, I'm proud of all of them. They're all three amazing. Uh, been very fortunate in my life. The uh, thing I was getting to with her, though, is I was very proud of how she wants to really understand the area that she's visiting. She wants to really embrace and empathize with those people that are there. So, that's like when we go to Yellowstone, I don't think I may get a little bit of empathy for the people that live there, but it's pretty much just a park. Um, big, wonderful, uh, a thing of magnificence, but there will be the part about it lacking the empathy. I won't be there to mingle among people and the Mi- Miami, Minnesota areas, really understand what life is like where they live. It's all about beauty and understanding stuff. When I went to Ireland, it was a different thing. I was there with her, it was big time mingling. Ireland is gorgeous place, beautiful, but the people there, I spent hours and hours just talking with them and interacting with them. They were great. And that mingling, that empathy with them, and what they do, and one of the things I tell people that they're like, well, what'd you do when you were in Ireland? Oh, I saw this, the cliffs and the gorgeous weather and the stoneworks and all these other things. But then I said, and I listened to their radio. And they're like, okay, you listen to the radio for music? I said, no, no, no. I listened to their news radio. And I heard stories about their news and what they were going through and how they were dealing with stuff. And I'll give you one story that's like riveted me. They were talking about there's a tradition they had in birthing. They evidently went early on. They said, "What do we do when a mother loses her child?" Well, they had this thing they call the black chair, and they would sit the person in the black chair, and the other mothers would, try to cheer her up and talk to her and commiserate with her, and it was they were a way to say, I guess we're so sorry for what happened to you, and things will get better. We're here for you. You can try again and stuff like that. I don't know this. I, they didn't go into the details of what was said to the person in the black chair, but what they did say was it was becoming a little bit of a hardship now because you lose your child, and that black chair is actually in the room where they are doing the births, and they have about 8 people in a room. Birthing rooms were big. They're not solitary areas. They were big, 8-person rooms. But they also didn't want the person to leave right away because they need to make sure they were okay medically and there wasn't going to be any problems. So they wanted to keep an eye on them for a little while. So the question was, could they find the money to make the birthing rooms smaller so that they could not have these 8 people in one room? So they didn't have the money, and I guess unlike the United States, they couldn't print the money. So they were really strapped for cash, and it was interesting. Uh, a they not only had a lot of interesting customs, but they had dynamics as a country and a people that are not what we deal with. A couple of days ago, our president just forgave uh, close to $500 billion in debt, stroke of a pen. They can't. That's 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 money they could have easily solved all their problems with. They can't do it. They can't. They don't have the money. They don't have. They use the European euro, and just can't come up with money like that. So uh, it's interesting. It's a difference between uh, global leaders like U.S. and a country that's trying to work in the infrastructure of uh, the European Union. So vacations, even though I'm going to Yellowstone, I'm really looking forward to it. Uh, I really do like vacations more where I can interact with people. That vacation with my daughter to Ireland is one of the best vacations I've had in quite some time. I love the people, and I agree with her. Cruises are wonderful, relaxing, and the cruises are also really good because they're the family time. We usually go with we don't just go me and my wife. We go with a family, and so it gets you some time together. But if I had to pick another trip to redo, I would do one in Ireland, like my daughter set up for me, because it was quite enjoyable. I was really, really glad she was there to drive for me, though. Wow, those were tight streets. Really, it was really hard for me. I'm used to wider streets. She's a much better driver than I am. Anyways, hope you guys have a wonderful morning. I hope you're enjoying vacations as they come up. I hope you're having a chance to meet with people and find people and the love that's shared with them. She dropped the ball, but I don't see where it went. Oh, well. She'll find it. You guys have a wonderful day, and we'll talk to you later.